In this video, I'm going to share how I grew my one-man coaching business from 0 to consistent 8K months in the last 6 months, and how I plan to triple that in the next 6 months. So in the beginning of 2025, I went into the year with one simple goal. And that goal was to grow my one-man coaching business to a €250,000 run rate without using staff, hundreds of DMs, tons of paid ads. I wanted to do this in a very, very specific way. We're now 6 months into the year. We're 50% of the year gone. And I want to give you a little bit of an update into that journey. If you watch this video till the end, you'll see exactly how I grew from 0 to 8K in 6 months. The things I'm going to change, the things that worked well and got me to 8K a month, the things that are currently holding me back from growing faster and growing to that 21 to 25K a month mark, and what I am immediately changing, and I've already changed in the last few days, that is going to actually facilitate this transition. So buckle in. This is going to be valuable for you, I hope. Get a pen and paper, take some notes, and let's get stuck in. A little bit of an update in terms of numbers. So I'm 39% of the way to hitting the €250,000 run rate. Now, what that actually looks like is 3 back-to-back 21K plus months. Run rate is just a term for projected revenue, and if people may have different, they may have different definitions of run rate, but for me, if I can hit 3 months where I consistently hit a revenue number, that is a good indicator for me that I'm actually at that level. I've not just had one big month, which is not a good indicator of where I'm at. But if I do 3 months back to back where I've hit the same or higher, it's a good indicator for me that I can continue to produce that level of revenue. So for me, a €250,000 run rate is €21,000 per month for 3 months back to back, or of course more. So that's what we're working towards. Now, 6 months into the year, we're 50% of the way through, and I'm 39% of the way to that goal, which means that I'm consistently hitting 8K plus on a kind of a monthly basis. Now, for me, I've been at this level before. I've been in online business for the last 7 years. I've grown 3 other offers to 10K a month. So I've got some systems and skills and strategies behind me and a few years of experience. But the things that really worked well for me this time around are actually different, and the things that allowed me to grow so quickly in just 6 months from effectively 0 with this new offer were 3 main things. The first one was the right business model, and when I say the right business model, I mean a lean and profitable and high leverage business model. This is something that I call the access level offer, and you may have heard other people talking about it. It's a proximity offer. It means that I'm not just selling one program at one price point to one person. It really means that I've got an ecosystem of different offers which are built on my proximity. So for example, I've sold offers that were €49 in the DMs. I've also sold offers that were €5,000. I've sold offers that were €2,000. I've sold offers that were €1,200. I've sold offers that were €3,000. I've sold €100 a week. I've sold €250 a week. I've sold €350 a week. I've sold stuff for €20. I've got a massive spectrum of different things that I can offer different people at different stages of the journey. But it's all built on my proximity, which means that the closer you are to me, the more closely you work with me, the more you're going to invest and the more results you're going to get back as a result. If you're looking for something that's quite low investment, you've got an option to come and work with me for a very low investment. It's going to get you an ROI. But if you put in €100 and it doubles, you're going to get €200 back. If you put in €5,000 and it doubles, you're going to get €10,000 back. And very often, if you're working with me closely like that, someone who invested €5,000 with me a couple of months ago is already up to 25K return and still has 2 months left of what was paid for the €5,000. So the point here is that I've got lots of different ways of serving people, but it is respectful of my time. in terms of how I serve those people. So it's not like the person who pays €50 or €25 is getting one-to-one calls with me. That's strictly reserved for the people who are actually paying for my time. And what this means is that I actually can service a lot of people. I can make a lot of sales, but I'm not constantly stuck in this delivery loop of when I had 50 one-to-one online clients as an online personal trainer, I was constantly stuck in this delivery loop of every time someone signed up, they might pay me a couple of €100 a month, but now I had a lot of delivery in the back end to fulfill for that person, and it stopped my sales and my marketing processes because I was just stuck in delivery. Whereas now I've got a select number of spaces where I give a lot of my time to those people, and then that's capped. I don't take more than 10 hours a week, for example, on Zoom. So once those spaces are capped, then I'm only working with stuff that's more scalable and more deliverable. The beautiful thing about that is that the one-to-one and very high touch point stuff can be very profitable because you're charging people at a higher price point, but it's also not very scalable because of the time and the delivery demands which it requires. So it also gives you the very profitable end of things, but it gives you the very scalable and low touch end of things. And when you combine those and you have an ecosystem of offers and you can deliver in a scaled way, you can basically solve problems for people at every different level, and they are happy to pay you for whatever is the right investment for them. And you're not trying to sell all the people on the same thing when only a very small percentage of people are going to be a fit for each particular tier of your offering. Now, with this lean, profitable business model and this ecosystem of offers, it leads into the next thing that worked really well. And this was just the way that I was making offers. So this ecosystem and this flow of offers, this offer flow, where because I have this business model where I basically have access to my own time, I can spend that time creating versus like doing done for you stuff for other people. So I can create a lot of value, I can create a lot of digital assets, which can then go out and work for me. So every piece of content that I create that solves a problem for my clients can then also be used in sales and marketing, so that this ecosystem is also actually taking care of sales and marketing. It's not just doing delivery, where I can deliver to people in lots of different ways, and it's not just I have more things to offer them. It also means that it works in sales and marketing. So the low ticket product, the €49 product, is the first step to then come and have a conversation with me about joining the main program. So this ecosystem also works as a sales and a marketing ecosystem. And aside from just having a good model for delivery that's very profitable, very easy to run, doesn't require a big team or anything like that, and also operates at an 82% profit margin after taxes and expenses, that's net profit. So for every €10,000 that hits the bank account, €8,200 of that is profit, which is insane. Now that's also down to where I'm based and stuff like that as well, but that's for another video. But this model is highly, highly profitable. And this ecosystem basically does sales and marketing on autopilot because these assets operate independent of my time. So I create an asset, it might be a piece of content, it might be a small course, it might even be a YouTube video like this, which goes out and speaks to people at scale and then gets people to reach out to me when they want to install a similar model. I may as well throw this in here. If you do want to install a similar model, if you're tired of trading time for money and you want some scalability and some leverage in your coaching business, come and reach out to me. I would be happy to just explain how this all works. So hit me a DM, same name on Instagram, and we can connect there. But this video, after I record it, will be on YouTube for years. Now I record it once and it might go out and get 100, 500, 1,000 views in the future. I have no idea as this channel continues to grow. So that's the kind of leverage that we're looking for, building digital assets. And when you have a model like this that relies on assets, you create these assets for clients, but they actually go out and they work for you. And this ecosystem means that sales, marketing are easy. You're not just always selling the same thing. Every single week you have different things that you can offer. I'm actually going to announce shortly after this video that I have just planned 2 masterminds, one in Ireland and one internationally in Sofia. So these are things that I can offer because I'm operating with a proximity model. There's little flies eating my head. This proximity model and this ecosystem of offers, they combine together to give you a ton of profit, a ton of opportunities for sales and marketing, and they take back your time, which is the most important thing. Finally, and last but not least, this is actually the glue that holds everything else together, is personal brand. Now, personal brand for me has been the big unlock because you can have the best model in the world, you can have all sorts of stuff that you can offer to people and sell and market. But the fundamental pillar that you need in an online business is your personal brand. Like, people buy people, and that personal brand is the thing that creates the trust, the authority, and that actually makes people want to buy from you. Because there's lots of people who can deliver a service or get a result, but you will choose based on the person. And you've probably done this before. You've probably worked with somebody because you aligned with them on a value, or you heard their story and it resonated with you. You aligned with them because of their personal brand. You paid them because of their personal brand. And a really easy to understand example of this is just every single day in your DMs, you've probably got people making you offers. I know when I go to my DMs, I've got kids in India, Pakistan, all of these places, and I appreciate and I respect the hustle, like, good for you. But they've obviously read $100 million offers from Alex Hormozi, and they're doing cold outreach. And they're sending me these crazy offers with insane guarantees where they're going to double my business in the next 90 days, and if they don't, they'll pay me $5,000. Now, those offers are incredible, but I still scroll past them all because this person has no brand, there's no trust, there's no authority. I don't know if they can do the job. I don't know who they are. They've just appeared in my inbox, and they have no social capital or social currency with me, and I don't have any reason to trust them or work with them. And even if their offer was that good, I still wouldn't work with them because I'm just like, I don't know who this person is. They just showed up in my inbox. Whereas personal brand, I've been very, very clear on my messaging, what I stand for, what I stand against. I've consistently shown up. I've documented my life. I've documented my struggles. I've documented my client stories. I show absolutely everything that I am doing here on YouTube. And that builds a lot of trust. It builds a lot of authority because I'm not afraid to tell you what hasn't been working, and I will further on in the video, so stick around for that. But that's what builds trust and authority. And people actually relate to you, and they want to work with you as well because of that. So personal brand, that is the biggest thing that you need, particularly now in 2025, going forward into a period of history where information is valued at zero because ChatGPT and other AIs can just replicate information 1,000 times faster. Solutions themselves, just step-by-step processes, are also losing value because, again, an AI can come up with a really good step-by-step process to solve almost any problem. And there's really only a couple of things that are going to survive. One is your personal brand that is built on who you are as a person, because AI will never replace connection and wanting to actually be in a room and be in a relationship or associated with people who inspire us and who make us better individuals and who help us to level up in life. Community, which again is another part of your brand, because your brand will bring in the kind of people who resonate and relate to you, and so you need to be very, very conscious of what your brand is and the kind of person that you attract, and that group of people become your community, which again further strengthens your brand. And then the final piece of that is just agency and creativity and being able to create and build. We can still go out and be creative and build things and create solutions in a unique way, and then deliver them to communities of people who trust us, who want to be there, who get value aside from just the solution. So that is the big thing that we all need to work on going forward. And those are the three things that have been massively impactful in the last 6 months growing this business. Now, one thing to note, none of these things are going to change. So I will be doubling down on all three of these things. I will be continuing to refine the leverage business model. I will be continuing to build my ecosystem of offers, and I will be continuing to strengthen and build my personal brand. However, of course, not everything went quite as planned. And in this next section, I'm going to speak you through the things that really held me back and that have stopped me being at 12 or 15K a month at this stage, and the things that I need to address if I am to go 21, 22, 23, 24, 25K plus in the next 6 months. So first one is just leaking energy into dopamine loops and distractions, specifically social media platforms. And this is very, very difficult, right? If you work online, especially if you're in the coaching or creating space, you probably use a lot of social media. And as a byproduct of using a lot of social media for your creative work, you likely find yourself getting sucked in and consuming a lot of social media as well. This has been the big thing. Like, I really, really struggled with my phone use. I struggled with my time on Instagram. I struggled with like mental masturbation as well, to an extent. Like, I consume a lot of YouTube content and Spotify content of, you know, sales and marketing and business and psychology and leadership and all these things, and really, really valuable. But the reality is that's an endless loop. It never ends. There's just continuously new content to consume, and it's continuously perfect for me in terms of it speaks to what I care about, and it continuously just gets better and better. The algorithms feed me better and better content, and I don't mean better in terms of they make my business better. I mean better in terms of the content gets me to stay on the platform longer, which is the goal of the algorithm and the content and the platform. So I have to actually, you know, break away from this, and I need to break out of consumer mode if I am to go to the next level with my business. So that's the first thing, is just, you know, digital leaking time and energy and attention digitally. The second thing is not having clear boundaries. So I broke my boundaries quite a lot, both in terms of like external partnerships. There was a company I was going to do a partnership with in Ireland. There was a big influencer I had a partnership with as well. And again, these, you know, they looked lucrative and they looked good on paper. But when I actually factored in the time and the energy cost of doing these things and how they dragged me away from my own business and my own clients and the stuff that really actually was giving me fast growth, I realized that these were just energy leaks. And at some point, you know, at the beginning of your journey, you kind of have to say yes to every opportunity. But at some point in the journey, you have to get really, really good at saying no to things that don't align. And again, I lost probably 6 weeks where my business stagnated and didn't grow because I was focusing on these opportunities that were actually just big distractions disguised as, you know, paydays essentially, and very shiny objects. So that was the second thing. And then the third thing was actually boundaries around my own time, specifically around like my client delivery. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I have an access level offer, which means that people pay for proximity and access, but I at times wanted to over deliver, wanted to give people a great experience, and broke my own boundaries in terms of time. So people would get more one-to-one time than what I was actually charging them for, because they're my clients. I love working with them. I want them to get results. But that actually came at a cost where, because I was over delivering to my clients on, say, calls and messages and stuff like this, I wasn't actually creating assets and resources that would actually solve their problems faster. And it meant that, you know, if I had to solve the same problem with a client or with 5 clients 5 times, it would have been better for the community as a whole if I had spent 1 hour solving that problem in a training and then given it to everybody, and then I would have had 4 hours freed up to actually go and learn more and bring back more to the community, or build another asset that then my community could go on to take and make their own and replicate and use in their own business. So, you know, this isn't like me being lazy and like, oh, I don't want to spend time with my clients. I absolutely love spending time with my clients, but I also have to be very conscious of where I should be spending my time. And most problems in your business are asset problems. So if I am constantly doing the same work with clients over and over again, I actually need to create an asset to solve that problem, because the problem is a lack of an asset. And if I just continuously solve it again and again and again, over and over and over, it's not a good use of my time. It's not me investing back into my learning and development to then bring it back to the community. And it's just a net negative for everyone as well. So those are essentially the 3 things. By the way, I'm going to document in detail exactly how I'm going to solve those problems in separate YouTube videos. So if that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button and stick around, because if you're watching this far, it probably is interesting. But I'm going to really go deep on these things. But effectively, the things I'm going to change, I'll keep these nice and short and sweet, because like I said, I'll go deeper in different videos. But first and foremost, my environment, and specifically my digital environment. So I am completely revamping my environment. This phone that I'm creating from now is a creative studio. There's no input on that phone. I cannot consume YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, none of these platforms. There's no consumption availability for me on this phone, because I've turned it into a creative studio. So when I take the phone out, all I can do is speak to the camera, talk with ChatGPT, you know, work in my notes, like do stuff that's actually work, not consumption of content. I've also made some changes to my laptop. I've set up some deep work profiles in my Mac, and I'm making some changes there as well. So essentially my environment is going to be as social media free as possible. It's not going to be 100% social media free all of the time because I still use social media, but the way that I am running my business will mean that my social media consumption, my ability to consume, will be almost zero. I will have very few opportunities in the day to actually consume anything. And already I've implemented that over the last week. That has stopped me from consuming too much. That's already made a big difference in terms of my screen time and my productivity. And even these YouTube videos, I'm now a couple of weeks ahead in terms of creating YouTube because of the fact that I've taken back time in my day. So that is the first thing, curating a better digital environment. The second thing is this shift. Internally, I would say this identity shift from consumer and creator to just fully creator. So I never identified as a consumer, but I noticed I was falling into consumer behavior patterns of consuming content. And I want to draw a line, a clear line and a clear distinction between being a consumer and a creator. And I'm going all in on creator. So I am trying to create as much as possible, and that might be assets for my clients. It might be trainings, it might be YouTube videos, it might be emails. I am going fully into the creative space, and I am embodying the identity of a creator, not a consumer. And this is kind of a follow-on from the first point of actually like changing my digital environment, but I'm also making a change to change my internal environment and to change my identity and to really focus on becoming a creator and thinking like a creator, and thinking about taking back agency in terms of my time and my attention and my focus, because these things are really important. And that is going to come through accountability with people around me and making sure that they're keeping me accountable to making this change. My girlfriend specifically is doing this with me as well, and she's making this change as well. It's going to come through actually, keeping track of the changes that I'm making and the positive impacts that they're having on my life. And of course the environment is going to make it a lot easier for me to actually embody that identity as well. The third thing is behaving like my future self. So again, this is maybe a little bit broad and vague, but I'll go in more depth in another video. But I had a mastermind the other day with a mentor of mine and a bunch of other high-level coaches, and one of the questions they were asking is like, what is the thing that you want to do and you feel like you should have done and you haven't done yet, and you're maybe waiting to do until you go to the next level? And for me, masterminds are a big thing that I really want to do, and I've talked about a lot and I've considered arranging, but I never actually put it in the calendar. So over the last week, I've actually put 2 masterminds in the calendar, one in Ireland, one internationally in Sofia. And these masterminds are going to be the thing. If I was currently earning 100 grand a month, I would be doing masterminds every few months. I want to start acting and behaving like the version of me who is already doing 100 grand a month. And so by embodying the actions of that person, I will then become that person as well. So that is the third thing. I'm behaving like my future self. And those masterminds are going to be the opportunity to actually level up my business, as well as, of course, deliver a ton of value to the people who come. But instead of waiting until I'm at the point where I think, now I'm at the level where I can go and do international masterminds, becoming the guy who does international masterminds then actually is the thing that brings me to that next level. And I know those last two were kind of like identity and behaving like your future self, and they're not that tangible, but tangibly the things that I'm doing are working. The personal brand, the access level offer, the ecosystem of offers, that stuff is absolutely killing. And the biggest bottleneck to me getting to that next level and hitting 20K, 25, 30K, 50K, 100K months is myself. So that's where the focus is going this time around.